What's going on YouTube? Johnny here. Welcome back to another video. I hope that you've all been doing well and you had a great week. Today's episode 6 of Cooking with Johnny, and on this episode we'll be grilling a flank later for dinner, and it's a 2-for-1 because we're also doing a lemon ricotta cheesecake, and we're actually starting on the cheesecake right now because it takes time to set, bake, everything like that. I think it's close to a 3-hour process, so that's why we're starting on the dessert early. But we have our ingredients for the cheesecake right here, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into the cooking. All right, and for the first part of the cheesecake, we are going to be working on the crust and getting that prepared. So in this dish right here, we have crushed graham crackers. You can either crush them manually yourselves from the store once you buy the crackers, or you can buy them pre-crushed. Either one works. We have melted butter, and we also have some sugar here. So what we'll do is we'll dump the sugar in. We'll then pour the butter over everything. And we have the little spatula to make sure that we get all of the butter out of the cup. Without trying to make a mess here. That's that for the butter. And then what we'll do is we'll just mix everything around and incorporate to make sure that everything is wet, because we'll put it in the pan to form the crust. So what you want to do is you just, as I said, you just want to make sure everything, gonna be missing a little piece of the crust. But yeah, just mix around everything, make sure it's nice and evenly coated, or that the butter is coating everything, and that'll make it easier to mold into the pan, as I said. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a great week and you're enjoying the weekend. It's really starting to cool off and transition into the fall weather over here, which is nice. So, all right, so we got the crust and the butter and sugar all incorporated nice and evenly. So we have our spring form pan right here. And some of you may be asking why we wrapped it with aluminum foil. You'll see that in a little bit, but there's for the water bath when we put it into the oven. That's so the water doesn't seep up through the pan and make your crust soggy. But as I said, you'll see that in a little bit when we put that into the oven. So right here, just dumping out all the crust into the pan. Make sure we don't leave any of that goodness behind. Because I don't know about you guys, but I love a good crust. Nothing is better than a good crust. It's a big part. It can taste great. The dessert can taste great, but if the crust is not there, no thank you. So then now what we'll start doing, we'll just start kind of pressing down and spreading the crust out just to cover the pan. And we don't have to worry about getting it too, it's not like it's going to rise a bunch. It's not like you want to press it up against the sides of the pan. You just want to spread it out, get a nice coat. All right, guys, so we finished patting down the crust and got that spread out nice and evenly. So for the next part, we're going to get about 2 teaspoons of lemon zest. And just like when you're getting lemon juice, I don't even know if it, maybe it's a placebo effect, but I find it helpful if I roll the lemon out a bit. And then with this, what we're going to do, we'll just make sure I have the right side. Yep. We'll just zest the lemon, and you don't want to do too deep. As you guys can see, if you get like the white part of the lemon, maybe it's not showing up the best, but you just want to make sure you get the most exterior part of the lemon skin, because if you get the white part, which is like a layer down, it can be really bitter and sour, and that can throw off the taste. And with these, the way that we're zesting it, since it's a really long piece, what I'll do at one point, when I get all the zest that's needed, I'll just chop it up so that's why it's not really long pieces of lemon zest and you're not flossing your teeth with the lemon, because that wouldn't be enjoyable, right? But as I said, yeah, about 2 teaspoons, excuse me, of lemon zest, and then we'll chop that up when we get that. All right, guys, so we got the first teaspoon right here. I've already chopped that one up, and then off camera I just worked on the second one. So again, just chop this up so it's not long, stringy pieces of lemon zest. That's good. Get that aside from there. And then we'll also be doing lemon juice. So luckily already rolled out the handy dandy lemons, so those are ready to go. But that's the zest, and let's go ahead and get into the lemon juice. All right, guys, as I said, time for the lemon juice, and let's just give it one last little roll, the finishing touch. And as I said a couple of videos ago, I like laying the lemon horizontally and then cutting it in half. That way it's just easier for me to grip. So what we'll do, we'll just squeeze all the lemon juice into this container, and we'll need about 3/4 cups of lemon juice, I should say. So just getting all the lemon juice out here. All right, and for our little strainer to hold the seeds while we dump out the juice, and we may have to use plan B of some lemon juice in the fridge because we are actually out of lemons, so we might have to call an audible on this one, but we'll see. Boom. There's one. We got 1.5. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest from the fridge, and then I'll see you guys in the next bit. All right, for this bit, we're going to be using 1¼ cup of sugar. Always satisfying seeing it nice and level across the top. Maybe that's just me. Let me know if you guys find that kind of thing satisfying. And then what we'll do, so we need 2 egg yolks and then 3 whole eggs. So as always, cracking an egg on a flat surface helps, you know, to avoid any shells getting in there. Oh, there we go. That crack had me a little worried on the shell. It wasn't an even one, so. There we go, please don't give me a problem. There we go. No, I got a shell in there. Well, it happens, so I'll get that out after. And then in this one, the whites, we're going to keep the whites because we only need the yolk. And, you know, you can use the egg whites to make an egg white omelet, or just, you know, make it to whatever you want with the egg whites. So we'll just keep that. Eventually it'll separate. And you can use a couple of techniques for separating the yolk from the white. You can keep it in the shell and just go, you know, shell to shell. I personally like using my hands because I'm not that good at the shell. Hope it doesn't spill. We'll find out. Boom. 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 There's another shell in there. 0 for 2 today. That's all right. These things happen. You all right over there, cameraman?
Yep.
Is that? Oh, thank you. We'll do that so I don't spill everything. So that's that. I'll fish out the eggshells out of both containers. All right, guys, and for this next part, well, first we have the ingredients. So we have some sugar, vanilla, flour, ricotta cheese. We have the eggs, and then we have 3 full-fat cream cheese blocks, bricks, whatever you want to call them. So what we'll do first, we'll add in the cream cheese, and then at the same time we'll also add in, thank you, we'll also add in the ricotta cheese and get those mixed together and get those going, because we want to get the cheese nice and creamy. That. This thing's kicking my butt. Boom. All right, so those are the 3 blocks of cream cheese. Add in the ricotta. Let me remove that. Don't want to mix the equipment into there. So we'll do that. Plug in the mixer, and we'll do that probably on a medium. And we'll just get that going. And what we'll do is we'll periodically stop the mixer, raise up, and just scoop around the bowl to make sure we're getting every piece incorporated. And then we can work our other ingredients into that. So I will see you when it's time for that. All right, guys, as you can see, this lovely, lovely footage. This is nice and I guess incorporated, smooth, whipped. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add the sugar and vanilla in until it's nice and smooth. So same thing on the, well, I'll lower that so I don't know. So sugar, vanilla. Like I said, we'll just let that do its thing until it's nice and smooth. And then, yeah, it'll be the part for the flour and eggs. So we'll let that get going. See you guys then. So we'll dump that in. We'll let that get mixed up. And then eventually we'll add in the flour too. But we'll stop this one more time after the eggs get going, mix it in, and then good to go. All right, and since we gently want to add the flour in and stir it, we took it out of the mixer because we don't want to overbeat or what's the word, Ma? Is it overbeat it? Is that it?
Overmix.
Overmix, yeah. We don't want to do that. So we're just going to manually get it out of there. All right. And then what I'm gonna do, you can stir, but I'm just gonna fold from the bottom just so we incorporate everything, and then even the sides as well. Boom. And again, we just don't want to overmix the batter. What would happen if you did that? Does it just get lumpy?
It gets a little tough. Like heavy,
Tough?
Heavy.
Oh.
Not tough, but you know, heavy.
Yeah. That, so now we have the lemon zest. Sprinkle that in. And boom. And the lemon juice. Nice. So now we can stir and fold a little bit of both. Best of both worlds, you know? We get versatile in this kitchen. That. Boom. Okay, bottom, yeah. Pretty good. All right, and then next up, I'm pretty sure we'll just go ahead and dump that into the pan. So I'm gonna clean up here and I'll see you guys there. All right, time for the fun part now. So we're going to dump out our filling. Make sure nothing is left behind. And then with this, just the finishing touches. I'll clean that up so it doesn't burn onto there. And then yeah, that is that. How's it look? You think it looks good?
Looks good.
Nice. Okay. So I'll set this. All right, guys. Before I was really cut off by the cameraman, who's a little click happy over there. Up next is the part, as I mentioned earlier, the steam bath or the water bath for the cheesecake. So we'll put this in. Do that. And that's why we put the aluminum around the cheesecake. So we'll just put a little water, and don't want to do too much because you don't want it shooting up, but maybe, I think that's good. And this is, as I said earlier, it's technically called a water bath, but it acts like a steam cook, right? Is that the right word for it? Steam cook or steam bath for the
steam baking? Steam.
A little more, you think? Okay. Boom. All right. And I did forget to say, the important part here is you don't want any water splashing up into the cheesecake. At least it didn't get in the cheesecake.
That's the main thing. Good save.
Frying my eyebrows because it's 3:25. I'll put my whole face in there. All right. So that's that. And I believe that cooks for about two hours. Well, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But I'll keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's the cheesecake prep. So looking forward to the next bit. All right, guys. So we actually ended up baking it for about an hour and a half, not 2 hours. So I was wrong on that front. But after we baked it for the hour and a half, we turned off the heat and let it sit in there for about another 30 minutes. So it's looking pretty good. Yeah, and don't mind the cracks. That's just until it was jiggling. So we're doing some the test of how jiggly it was, and that just caused little cracks. But other than that, yeah, it looks really good, and that's the cheesecake. All right, guys, so we ran the knife around the edge of the cheesecake, and don't mind the jagged edges. It is what it is, and we're gonna chew it anyway. So that's good. We're gonna let that sit for a bit, and then we'll stick that in the fridge. And as far as the flank, we started seasoning it before we started recording, but we have salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder. So we gotta do that. Boom. Both sides. and we'll take this out to the grill. So, see you there. All right, guys, so we got the grill ready to go. It's sitting at about 350 right now. Face full of smoke. So let's do this. We'll do that direct heat, and we'll just probably flip, probably like maybe every four minutes or so. But depends on how it's looking. But it's on the grill, so let's go. And this part's important. You gotta always clean and rinse your rice. It's a must. Turn that down a bit so it's not loud for the camera. See, and then you can see how murky that water is. All right, guys, so yeah, it's looking pretty good for now. So I'll go ahead and dump out the last rinse. And then, time for the old school test that the great cameraman or camera woman herself, my mom, taught me, is when you fill up the rice. My nose is itchy. Sorry, don't want to scratch my nose and put my finger back in there. But when you fill up the water in the rice, you just barely, you want to make sure it's even playing field for the rice, and then you just kind of go like that. And it's always the first little wrinkle in your finger from the fingertip to the first wrinkle up. And usually when that water line hits that first line, you're good to go with the amount of water in there. So as you guys can see, make that an even, as I said, even playing field. Boom, right on there. So that's that. Turn that off, put that in. Rice is cooking, and we're in motion. See you guys in the next bit. See, boom, oh yeah. Time to flip. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good angle right there. So we'll let that rest. And yeah, we'll just continue to keep an eye on that. Well, guys, I got a little too eager at trying to take the cheesecake out of there, and yeah. Okay. Yeah. Put a little dent into the cake. And another bummer, I didn't wrap the cake up that well with the aluminum foil. I guess I should have put more layers and compacted the aluminum way tighter than I did, because some of the water got in there as well and it's soggy. Okay. It's a double whammy. But anyway, first it was the eggshells earlier, and now it's this. You know what? Some days are like that. But yeah, we can still eat the cheesecake without the crust, even though I said the crust is the best part of one of these in a previous section, or previous section of the video. You'll see that. I'll make note of that. Whatever.
That's okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Sometimes it's like that.
No, because I didn't hear the camera beep, so I look up. Then I got smoke and stuff in my face. All right, guys, so we got the oyster sauce right here. This is a really, really good thing that I like to do. So we'll do that. Oh, I wasn't looking. I was looking at the coals and it kind of got carried away. That's all right. We'll just spread that out. Well. I come back in and I see a piece of the cake missing. And at first this culprit was just sitting there, but I know the sous chef wouldn't do that. So I think it was the cameraman. Cameraman's guilty.
I couldn't help it.
All right, guys, here we go. Final product of the meat. Now with this one, you always want to, it's a flank steak, so you always want to cut against the grain. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it into thirds. Now that's with the grain, but when we cut it into the little pieces, that's when I'm going against the grain. So boom, boom. Because if you go with the grain, it'll be a really tough piece, like you're chewing Laffy Taffy or something. All right, that's that.
Oh, look, Johnny, what's that over there? Look over there.
Really? Come on. First it was a cheesecake. Now it's the flank.
Okay.
But that's that, guys. Here we go. So you guys can see. Alright guys, favorite part of the cooking videos. Time to plate up the food. And it's my favorite part because this is the last step before being able to eat. So, dump that on there. As you know, I love rice, so get off there, whatever. That's fine. Come back for that stuff. Over here, we have the meat, which again, this was flank steak. And I'm starving, so load up. Like that. Then we got broccoli. And remember, guys, vegetables are important. This thing drawer. Vegetables are important, so gotta have the vegetables. And another very important thing, shoyu on rice. That's that. Boom. And then also, lastly, furikake. This, you know, Hawaiian. So over in Hawaii, we love this over our rice, meat, pretty much anything. You can popcorn sometimes, but it's basically just roasted sesame seeds, some seaweed, and it's just really, really good. Love this stuff. You have to have that. So that's that. That's the plate of food, and that's today's episode. You guys saw the cheesecake earlier, so yeah, that concludes episode 6 of Cooking with Johnny. And I just wanted to thank you guys for all of the support, for always stopping by, tuning in, and supporting me in this channel. I really appreciate it. It seriously means so much. And I checked, we're at 96 subscribers right now, just 4 away from the big 100. So really looking forward to closing in on that milestone, and then, as I said, continuing to grow the channel and reach more and more achievements here on this channel. So really looking forward to that. So let's get it done, guys. Please, I appreciate all of your help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend and have a great upcoming week. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.